Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome along to PSGL F2. We're here tonight around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. We're starting a little bit later tonight, folks. We've had some technical issues, that's why you will notice it is me streaming tonight, unfortunately. James has had a few issues there, but he's still with us now, so welcome along James Head, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting going live for F2. We are joining in the middle of qualifying. It is currently OP Firefox on top. James, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. If everybody is obviously expecting the OBS sort of style that we normally do, yeah, it's gone completely wrong. I think my laptop might be overheating. It is raining outside as well, I can report, which I didn't look into before going live, so that might be causing a few issues as well. But I am doing really good. 7 minutes of qualifying left. Firefox out on top, Ricky in second, and Rocker there, just going into third with a 15.2 as well. And actually, looking at the top 6, Evan, it is very close in terms of qualifying so far.
It's very close in terms of qualifying. Rocker's just gone to third for Haas. Of course, he's joined by Will Murdoch tonight, who is a reserve driver. Will is replacing Axa, who had a decent performance in Miami last week. Matthias is starting his run down towards turn number 1 here. Turn number 1, a tricky right into a slow speed chicane, which is really easy to spin on the exit. We're on board with the Williams now, and you can see almost flicking the car out, probably running low wings to get down that really long main straight. It is a very long one, 1.2k in fact, as he heads down towards the next section. Another tricky chicane. You want to be using about third gear through here, and it's not a bad lap so far. But pole is currently a 15.2 for Firefox, and Mr. Qualifying Ricky is in second position, 0.014.
He is indeed. Matthias was just on his lap as well. He's just invalidated coming through the S sections. Unfortunately for him, I think he was already down on his lap time in the Williams. And Nando was just started up on a lap as well. Tomasetto's an interesting one though. Down in 7th position. I believe he's on a lap coming through the S section now. Coming to the left-hander of turn 11 and then once again into the right-hander of turn number 12. And he's looking quite good in the middle sector. He's gained 2 tenths actually in the middle sector. Now in towards the Ferrosol at turns 12 and then of course into the Baseball Stadium section at turn 13, 14 and then through 15 and then again through Peraltada corner at turn 16 and 17. And Tomasetto, of course, looking to try and go towards the top end of the field here with this lap. Could go 5th, I think, with this lap to the line. He does indeed go 5th. 1:15.3. Some things never change, Evan.
Yeah, 1:15.3, not a bad lap for the Williams. We see Ricky on an outlap now. We see Frankie is on a bit of a run here, but he is down in sector number 1, I believe. Something has gone wrong there for the Alfa Romeo. Newt is on a run as well. Of course, not scored points in the last race in Belgium. He finished P11 on that occasion. He has scored 2 points, however. He scored those in Miami. Here comes Newt, though, in towards the first section. It's a bit of a tricky run out of turn 3, heading down towards turn number 4, but these are the real overtaking opportunities on this track as he heads down towards the Essa de Lago, in towards the Horquilla is the name of the next corner, and if I've butchered my Spanish pronunciations, I do apologise. But Newt heading in towards this S section now. It's a very tricky left-right and then another left-right as we see here. Here's the left. Sorry, it's a right-left for the second section as he comes through here in 7th gear, just about on the limit. Not a bad run this for Newt at all. He has the McLarens both on a lap behind him, as well as his teammate Nando on a second run, and he's just invalidated there. Newt, that's also disappointing for him. It's not the run he would have wanted. Ricky is on a bit of a lap behind. He's a 10th of a second up here, James.
He is indeed up in the middle sector, and he's now coming through the Ferrosol in toward the Peraltada corner at turn 16 and 17. Hopefully he doesn't decide to come in the pit lane, because this is looking like a very quick lap for Ricky on the run toward the line, and he goes provisional pole position. 15 flat from Ricky. Firefox there in second, a Rocker there in third. We've also got a lap time from Nicosos coming in. He's coming through Peraltada now at turn 16 and 17, and he's looking very competitive, I've got to say, the McLaren through the final corner on the run to the line, and he goes 6th. Not a bad lap time there at all from the FMD man. Of course, notable admission from last week is OP Ray, the championship leader, leading, of course, on 32 points. Now in F1, as we predicted last week, Evan, he's now in F1.
He's gone
gets
to
to
F1.
show, of course. Yeah, gets to show, of course, what is going to be happening there for him.
Yeah, last week at Spa-Francorchamps, it was an unbelievable win for Ray. He has taken the F2 World by storm, and he's been promoted. He has not taken a pole position, but he took 2 out of 3 wins in dominant fashion in both Austria and in Spa-Francorchamps, and he's been promoted, so we wish him the best of luck in F1, but that just creates an even tighter championship battle for us here. If we discount Ray, it's Ricky leading the way, 7 points ahead of Ron, who is leading by a singular point ahead of Araka. So we're really tight here as Krypton, the man who actually took the fastest lap last week in Spa, took some great points finishes there after a bit of trouble on the opening lap. Krypton heading down towards turn number 1, the tricky right. He's used as a gear higher than everyone else. That's something we noticed in Spa-Francorchamps. He uses a gear up on everybody else as he heads down towards the next few chicanes. Car weaving in front of him, it is the singular Mercedes of CC Brain, or Brian, I can never figure out which one it is, but he heads down into this section. He's of course replacing Ray in the Mercedes.
He is indeed, and he's looking obviously on that lap at this stage. Krypton though is coming through the middle sector in toward the SA section of turns 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. He's looking very quick, I've got to say, the Red Bull man coming through this SA section. Through 10 and 11, of course, tricky in terms of the off-run on the left-hand side there, but Krypton negotiating that very well into 56 flats in the middle sector. Not too bad at all from Krypton coming through the middle sector. Now in toward the Ferrosol, in toward the baseball stadium section. Of course, the driver is more than 800 metres above sea level at this track. And Ricky out on top, Firefox there in second, Rocker there in third. As Krypton, nearly sprinter coming out of Peril. Tyler Shooter lost all of his time on the run to the line, and he did indeed. 700ths down on his lap time as a Rocker, I believe, is on a lap.
Araka's on a lap, Aries is on a lap. There is a lot of guys on their final runs possibly here for the Mexican Grand Prix qualifying. We've come late into the session, but thank you for joining us here in F2. That is Nikosos done in the pit lane. Aries is heading through the S section. He's invalidated. That could be a crucial mistake. He'll have to back off, regain the ERS and get back on his run. Araka heading around. He's purple through sector number 1, whether that's a legitimate purple sector or not, only time will tell. But as he heads into the flick in the left and to the right, back to the left again, very easy to invalidate, very easy to spin in this S section of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, entering down towards the Forasol Baseball Stadium. Of course, Formula E race here as well. They do it almost the opposite. There's a car on the inside who will avoid him. It's the AlphaTauri as he heads in to the Forasol, flick in to the left, a hairpin, one of the slowest corners on the track, and into the final corner of the Peraltada, formerly a banked corner, a really dangerous one at that. But here comes a rocket across the line. It is going to not be an improvement. He's lost a lot of time in the final sector. Frankie up on his time though as we see him enter into towards the middle sector.
Yeah, 10th up in the first sector, looking very competitive indeed. If the Talent Factory man, of course, can put it all together, it remains to be seen. Of course, Jax is on a lap as well. I think he's coming toward the line, coming through the Ferrosol section. He's normally quite up there in terms of qualifying as well, as we'll go on board with him now.
Black Box gone to 11th. There comes Jax across the line. We'll see where he can go. He's normally quite up there in qualifying. Qualifying is now completed, and Jax has gone on to 5th position, but it's beaten by Alberto Vare, who goes and makes it an Aston Martin 2-3. Ricky is done here in qualifying. He did not make the line on his final run. Firefox heading through the middle sector. He is the man on a lap. It is Laurie on a lap on his debut here in F2. He'll go to 15th. Then it will be Will Murdoch behind him, who has invalidated. Newt is slightly up on a time. We've seen him make a mistake on his second attempt here in qualifying. He's coming through the Peraltada now. Can he improve on his time? The Alpine, he has his teammate right behind him once again. Newt is going to stay in 17th. What about Nando across the line? He's going to shoot onto the second row of the grid. Excellent lap for Nando. He did an impressive performance back in Spa-Francorchamps. Krypton is done on his qualifying lap. Let's take a look at the man who could win pole. No, Firefox will not. He's backed off on his lap. Araka has front wing damage. It's all kicking off in qualifying. CC Brains on a lap as he's entering in towards the Peraltada, but he is down on his lap, and so is Black Box, and that is qualifying. It is a 4th pole position for Ricky here in PSGL F2.
It is indeed, and Ricky, of course, looking very competitive indeed. A 15 flat from him. Firefox there in second, Nando there in third. Good lap times, by the way. Firefox backed off in the middle sector, validated through the S section. He had a spin as well, coming through that SA section, and that is why, obviously, he didn't get a lap time in. Frankie, of course, was up on his time as well. He also invalidated through that SA section, and that's why he's down there in 6th position. But a very competitive qualifying. Ricky out on top, Firefox in second, Nando there in third, 36 laps away to 7.
Yeah, and thank you for the comment who says Nikosas and Matthias have set the exact same lap time.
Oh yeah, they have.
Interesting battle for 9th and 10th between the McLaren and the Williams. But Ricky takes another pole. It is his 4th pole in F2 out of 4 races. Unbelievable in qualifying. He doesn't have the man who's been beating him in the races on the grid anymore. But can Firefox put up a challenge and possibly take his first win? Unbelievable stuff. Thank you, Luke, for pointing out. Just over half a second separates the entire field here in PSGL F2. It was Newt right at the back who couldn't get a proper lap in terms of where his pace is. He's been struggling so far this season. And as the Firefox fans going mental, we're going to get into the race, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we don't have any transitions to cut to today. We are having some technical difficulties, and we're not on OBS. We're just streaming out of my PlayStation for this evening. But here is your qualifying results. It is Ricky on pole position ahead of Firefox, who was a 10th of a second behind. Great lap by the McLaren. Nando in 3rd ahead of Alberto Vare in 4th. Arroca in 5th. Frankie in 6th ahead of Jax in 7th. Tomasetto Ella in 8th. Nikosas 9th. Mateus will start from 10, setting the exact same lap as the man in front of him. Ron will start 11th ahead of CC Brain in 12th. Harry's in 13th. Kryptonite 14th. Disappointing qualifying for him, but he's normally better under race trim. Black Box will start 15th. Laurie 16th. Will Murdoch 17th. And Newt will round out the grid in 18th position for the PSGL F2 Mexican Grand Prix.
Marco, by the way, in the chat has just put a very, very good pun. I normally make up these, so thank you very much, Marco, for this one. So I'm going to steal it for the rest of the commentary here tonight. Chrome is better in race pace, so that is disgraceful behaviour. Terrible.
Oh, that's a James Head pun, true and true.
Ah, I've got another one, though. Somebody might have the edge out on track.
Please give me somebody else to commentate with. Quickly, of course, we've no transitions, unfortunately, folks. We are going to run through the sponsors. Thank you to GT Omega, our title sponsor for this season, and to Grid Rival. It is a fantasy league that you can join. Make sure to check out GT Omega for all your sim racing products. We do apologise for not having any transitions, but it is completely out of our control. We sincerely apologise. But James, who's winning the Mexican Grand Prix?
Oh, do you know what? I think Jax has got a good chance. I know we didn't show it in qualifying. He's normally up there in terms of qualifying. I think he saved something for the race. I think Jax will take the win. Firefox for second. Hopefully he doesn't have any internet bugs in terms of him being out on track in second. And in third, I'm going to go Tomasetto.
Oh, James, you're not getting away with that pun. That was awful. We're getting ready to go around the 4.304 kilometre Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. We have no formation lap, folks. We're getting ready to go. 4, 5 red lights. It's Ricky on pole for McLaren. As we go racing in Mexico, Ricky gets the launch away initially, but it looks like Firefox could have a bit of a run up the inside. It's usually better to start in 3rd position, as we can see Firefox and Ricky side by side heading into turn number 1. Nando is right behind them. It's side by side for the front 2 into turn number 1. It's 4 wide just behind them with Alberto Vare and Frankie. Firefox goes off the circuit. He's lost an awful lot of time there. He's lost an awful lot of places, as there's almost a spin for Mateus and Nando as well in 5th. And Nando now 7th, but Frankie battling with Ricky. He's got to go up the inside of the McLaren man, and unfortunately that is going to be halted as we go under the virtual safety car, ladies and gentlemen. A hectic start here as a Jax, the man James predicted to win, is down 11 spots and has no front wing on the Ferrari. Arroca down 12, Ron down 5, Nikosas down 6. Some big losers. Nando, after that little half spin we saw, he is down 7 to 10th, but while we're under the virtual safety car, we'll run through the tyres there on the left hand side of your screen.
Yeah, set of hard component tyres for Ricky. Majority of drivers actually starting on the set of hards. Only 3, the exception rather than the rule. Frankie, Alberto Vara and Mateo, 2nd, 3rd and 5th currently. All have gained positions off the start as well. They're all on a set of medium compound tyres. Everyone else on a set of hard compound tyres. And to come back for instant as we go back racing, of course, from the VSC, a Rocket Jackson run all got caught up in an instant. The Coal Source, I think, also might have got caught up in that as well. 4 pretty much into 1 didn't really go, and they're all off wide out on track. It's Frankie's attacking.
Frankie's going to go for the lead. The medium tyres have lit up much better than the hard compound tyres of the McLaren, and Frankie is going to try up the inside, but the straight line speed on that McLaren just keeping him in touch here. Who's going to break the later of the two? Is it going to be the Alfa Romeo? Is it going to be the McLaren? Ricky possibly breaks the later of the two, but Frankie has the inside in towards turn number 1, and Frankie will lead. The winner in the second round in Miami due to penalties. He didn't win it on track. He could win this one on track. It's an excellent start by Frankie on the medium compound of tyres. It's a Aston Martin second row, 3 and 4 for Alberto Vare and Firefox, but the medium tyres working the better here, James. There's a few guys actually at the back pitting for softs. What do you think about that call?
I think, honestly, two-stop strategy is probably the one to go for around here. Rocking the coasters, as you say, going on that set of softs. Jack's on that set of medium compound tyres, as Lucas rightfully pointed out. What a jinx by me. I'm complete. That's a jinx. Nothing is going right for me, I think, here tonight. But Frankie out on top, Ricky there in second, Alberto in third, but Mateus is right on the back of Firefox.
Yeah, here he goes on the back.
Go on.
Well, I was just going to say, here he goes right in the back with Firefox, but doing well as Mateus, the medium compound tyres. I can't say from experience in last night's race, folks, the hard compound tyres feel horrendous. They feel quite appalling. They honestly feel like some of the worst tyres you could drive on. They feel like they're just your old ruggedy road tyres, but of course they are not. They are the fine standard Pirelli tyres, and I'm sure they would not like me for saying they feel horrible. Mateus is not going to get the run on Firefox here. This is just the train we are watching slowly develop in front of our eyes, but in front it is Alberto Vare looking to possibly increase his current podium position to a second place as he's heading on the back of Ricky. The medium tyres working the better, but down the field it looks like there could be some moves here from Will Murdoch. Mr. late on the brakes in Miami. He's gaining on the back of Krypton, a good friend of himself, but it's not going to be close enough on this occasion. Few cars running wide into this section though, as that's another pit stop for Rocca down the back.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'll be for sort of whole compound tyres. He could potentially make them to the end of the race. I do not see them working though. As you said there, whole compound tyres are absolutely horrible on this track. Blue wall, hard compound tyres, Silverstone is probably the best I could imagine in terms of that. He, however, goes for another set of soft compound tyres, which are quite interesting. You were mentioning about Will Murdoch. Here he comes on the back of Krypton, trying to go around the outside into the Feather Soul at turn number 12, but Krypton defends the inside line, and Will Murdoch, I don't think, is going to try and do any of his tomfoolery down the inside sort of moves that we've seen in the past. And he's remained in P8 as Black Box has gone.
Newt is gone.
12th and Newt has spun.
Newt has spun. That's unfortunate for Newt. He's having a poor race, but we just come back up to the front very quickly. Alberto Vare, he's going to open the rear wing on the Aston Martin Cognizant. Shizou Ricky in front does not have any DRS, and it was a Shizou 1-2 last season in Mexico. Tom Robbo leading the way ahead of Cameron Dowds. Can Ricky still hold second place to keep the Shizou dominance here in F2 in Mexico? He absolutely can. Some crisp defending from the McLaren man in front, but Alberto Vare is going to tuck into the slipstream down the inside for the Aston Martin in towards the second chicane section, late on the brakes, and Alberto Vare will take second position for Aston Martin. Brilliant move by him. The mediums the better of the tyres here in the opening few laps.
Yeah, Will Murdoch, by the way, through on Krypton. He's into 8th position. Aries, by the way, got 2 for the price of 1. His straight line speed is absolutely godly down the straight, and he was literally about 4 tenths behind. Coming out the final corner, was right on the back of Krypton, got the job done. Krypton, by the way, is just spun coming through the SA section.
Oh, Krypton's gone. That's unfortunate for Kryptonite. That is really, really unfortunate for Krypton. He was running a good race. He ran a great race in Belgium after a mistake. Could come back still in this one. He's not down and out of it yet. Mateus, though, is all over the backs of Firefox here. Firefox has held on well, but can he hold on for much longer, James?
I don't think he can. Mateus is all over the back of him. The Brazilian, of course, on the back of the Italian running down the straight. Tomasetto there, not doing too bad either there in 6th position. But here comes the first of the Williamses past Firefox. Mateus goes, and Mateus surely is going to get the job done in towards turn number 1. He should defend the inside line just for safekeeping, and he does. Firefox will try and go with the up and under. A little bit of a slide actually for Mateus coming out of turn number 1. But I think that is job done for 4th. And Nando, I think, on Will Murdoch is the next move.
Yeah, that's job done for 4th here, and Nando is looking on the back of Will Murdoch. He could get this one done a lot quicker than expected as he heads down. Who breaks the later of the two? Nando breaks the later of the two, just like Fernando Alonso does in that Alpine. Nando with a brilliant move on Will Murdoch. Will getting done by his own trickery. He won't be too happy with that one. He'll be fighting back here. A bit of a battle possibly developing for 8th position. Nando versus Will Murdoch. Nando was extremely quick in Spa, James. Made that mistake, but he's looking to redeem himself here in Mexico.
Yeah, definitely. So he's looking quite quick at this pace of the race as well. Will Murdoch obviously just obviously suffering in there in the Haas. Maybe his tyres are starting to go off slightly earlier than expected. And Nando there in 8th position. Obviously, you said he had a very strong race in Belgium until I think he had a collision with somebody. I'm not sure who it was, but Nando obviously there in 8th position, doing a good job. Whether or not he can get now within a second of Harry, speaking of which he has done, but he's out of DRS range. So that is going to be the big factor now, because Nando could well become a cork in the bottle.
Yep, it definitely could. He's gained on Aries here, but he won't get the DRS down this 1.2 kilometer straight. It's a very long one here in Mexico. Of course, the engine's not even running at full down that straight due to the high altitude, 2,200 meters above sea level. This Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Let's almost got that one very wrong. But Ricky has lit these hard tires alight here, James. He's all over the back of Alberto Vare for second position.
Yeah, mediums, to be honest, normally last around anywhere between 12 and 13 laps on a good day around here.
They can do 16 around here. The original pit stop for the medium to hard is about lap 16. It's a very long one. They feel absolutely shot after it. As you can see, Ricky already struggling through that S section on the hards. The hards come into their own later in the stint when the mediums drop off. It's a real game of cat and mouse on tyre strategy here, as Alberto Vare tucks into the DRS of Frankie here. This could be a close one. He's not quite got the DRS to the Peraltada. No, he's dropped out of it, so this could be a real close one down the straight here with Ricky, who will get that DRS on the back of the McLaren. We'll see it open any moment now, as there it goes. Ricky hunting down for second position. The man who started on pole. He'll want to take a win. He's taken 4 poles this season, all of the poles for Ricky. Not quite close enough on this lap.
Yeah, Ricky, by the way, has got about double the amount of ERS as Frankie at this moment in time. He's got around 65%. Frankie's on 35%. So there's a 30% difference in terms of the ERS. Ricky, as well, compared to Alberto Vare, is around the same. It's around a 25% difference in terms of the ERS rate that he has got. And I think, honestly, he's keeping that ERS back to try and attack him, I think, in the next couple of laps, because he looks quicker visibly on this lap. Even compared to the last lap, he looks quicker visibly compared to Alberto Vare, and maybe they've taken too much out of the tyres too early.
Yeah, it seems like they're running probably some too high tyre pressures here, because they're definitely struggling on the medium compound of tyres. Mateus picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's going to put him under even more pressure here in 4th position, because he's Firefox, the Aston Martin, right behind him. He only took the spot off him. He could get that spot nicked away, as we're close through the baseball stadium. Full capacity stands there, all full for the recent Mexican Grand Prix, especially the one where Checo Perez took a podium. No Mexican podium on course here today, but well, who knows? It's PSGL, anything could happen, even if you don't have the nationalities of drivers. Who knows? As Tomasetto tucked in behind Firefox, but not close enough to make a move yet.
Yeah, he is. He's not close enough to make a move down the straight, but he does, again, look quicker than Firefox at this stage in the race. Firefox hasn't gone too hard early. I think he's just conserving a bit more energy than him at this stage. He's got 27% though. Tomasetto's got 49%, so 22% advantage for Tomasetto. The Italian, of course, getting on the back, not close enough. He looks up slightly there in towards turn number 4 as well. CC Brain on the back of Black Box. Now, Black Box, obviously, with Ray now, obviously, he's making the step up to F1, now produces potentially a 5-6-way fight for the championship. Black Box was one of my favourites in TML in the placement show that I did last night. He is becoming, though, in PSGL F2 tonight, the cork in the bottle. Just doesn't have any pace. CC Brain is right on the back of him.
Yeah, he's stuck behind CC Brain, the man replacing Ray, who leads the championship. Mercedes have had a really disrupted season with their drivers being too quick and too indisciplined. CC Brain has come into the Mercedes team, a well-experienced driver and a fantastic graphic designer, as he enters in towards the hairpin. Oh, he's hit Black Box. He's actually taken a nudge on the Alfa Romeo, and this could be really close down the straight, because Ron is right behind these two as well. Shazoo Ron, the Shazooman, trying to take a look at the inside of CC Brain, but CC Brain can definitely have a go on Black Box here. He'll open the DRS, will the Mercedes. It's an 890 metre run from pole to turn number 1. He's not going to need all of that stretch is the Mercedes. He's got to go up the inside and pull back over onto his racing line before he gets to the corner. Excellent move for CC Brain. He's up to 11th now, and he's unlodged that cork in the bottle. But can Ron do the same? It's Alpha versus Alpha, Italian car versus Swiss, and he's got to try around the outside here as Ron. It's going to be a tricky move into this section, but a doable one if he can get it done here around the outside. Becomes the inside really quickly, pushes Black Box a little bit onto the curb. Black Box still committed as ever around the outside, but an excellent overtake by the man with the white helmet. Shazoo Ron is up to 12th.
As I said about 30 seconds ago, easy. He's up to 12. Black Box there down to 13, losing 2 positions for the price of 1. And that is the actual effect of not having DRS around this track. So easy to get out of slipstream range, so easy to obviously get out of people's slipstream as well. And
speaking of DRS, just quickly, range. James, the man up the front has none, and the man behind him has. Alberto Varre has closed in on this lap, has the Aston Martin to try make a move on the Alfa Romeo in front.
Yeah, he's 9 tenths behind him now. Frankie, I think, has gone a little bit too hard too early, and now Alberto Varre back within that DRS range. He has got a very good chance, potentially, of winning this race as well. And look who's becoming the cork in the bottle now. Fifth position, Tomasetto on the back, obviously, of Mateus. Firefox there, 5 tenths behind as well. Tomasetto's not careful. He's going to lose quite a lot of time and quite a short space of time.
Yeah, of course, it's a real... One guy passes you, you'll probably be passed by another fairly quickly in these sort of trains, especially around Mexico with the long straight. But the gap at the front is now 0.6 of a second. The gap between Tomasetto and Firefox also 0.6 of a second. It's really close, but there's a little bit of a scrap here at the back between Jack and Nikosos. Jax has gone past Nikosos in a straight line, the man with the mediums versus the man on the definitely shredded softs, although the softs not as bad around here as other circuits. You'd expect them to be worse, but they can do solidly 8 or 9 laps.
Yeah, they can do, and Jack's obviously there in 16th position. My favourite, of course, to take the race win. I still believe in him, believe in Jax tonight. Not believe in Black Box, believe in Jax. 17.5 seconds behind. You might laugh at me now, but you're not going to be laughing at the end of the stream if he wins. Okay, Jeremy Corbyn. Matthias is into the DRS of Ricky. The mediums still with a last lease of life. They're into the second win. There's Mateus is gaining and gaining and gaining, but he's not quite gaining enough because Ricky does have that DRS of the Aston Martin in front, and now the top 3 are all in really close quarters here. This could be an interesting one as we will be heading on to the 12th lap next time round. They're all still going to stay in the train. No moves being done quite yet here in Mexico. It's a real game of chess at the moment. Yeah, it is indeed. Pablo Parrot, by the way, very good. Obviously question about here. Pad or wheel, he says. I'm on pad, personally. And I think, wheel. Evan, you're on wheel, if I'm not mistaken. I am on wheel. I imagine he was asking the drivers more than us, but the majority, I think it was answered by Luke, the majority will be on wheel, but there could be a few pad users mixed in there. The pad is it's a quick one in terms of traction. I know some people like the pad traction, but it's much more difficult than wheel in my opinion, as Ricky almost chucking one up the inside of Alberto Varre. He fancies a move up the inside here as he is under pressure from the man behind him. Mateus could be the man to make a move out of this train as we head on to the 12th lap out of 36 here in this Mexican Grand Prix. The last 3 of 4 Formula 1 Mexican Grand Prix, the winning margin was over 15 seconds. So I don't think we're going to get as dominant performances that tonight, although the winning margin last time in PSGL F2 in Spa-Francorchamps was 11 seconds by Ray. Not here tonight. He was promoted to F1 tier, which you can tune into at 8 o'clock British time, 9 o'clock in Central Europe. No moves again on this lap, but Ricky, he's really teeing one up here. He is lifting into the corners almost just to stick behind as Nikosos. That's a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Will we be seeing the first retirement of the race anytime soon? We may be, as Nikosos not having a good time of things here in the McLaren. Yeah, not at all. He's down in 17th, and Rocker as well down in 18th. They need a full safety car period of at least 3 or 4 laps potentially to get back in this race at this point. Aries, by the way, on the back of Firefox is looking quite interesting. Oh, as soon as I say that, Aries has just lost it through the S section, and now Nando's going to overtake him as if he wasn't even there. Nando Thurney's into 7th, Aries there in 8th. Oh my god, how did he recover that? I do not know.
4 races, 4 James Head commentator curses as Will Murdoch is all over the back of the AlphaTauri. Apologies. Now it's the Alpine in front of Aries as Will Murdoch sliding out of the Peraltada. Of course, it used to be a banked corner all those years ago in that dangerous Formula 1 period in the 60s. Of course, the Mexican Grand Prix originating in 1963 to 1971, but we'll get more into that later if we do get that full safety car period, as Mateus is still struggling to make a move on Ricky in front. The DRS train's unreal around this Mexican Grand Prix as Will Murdoch right behind Aries here. He's trying to make a move, but I think Aries has recovered well since that certified James Head commentator curse moment.
Yeah, Code Brown moment, I think, definitely for Aries. I honestly still can't believe how he saved that, to be honest. He's only
I didn't quite catch
it.
I feel bad because it seems like an unreal save when we cut to him just as he was flying off the circuit.
Yeah, basically, what happened was, he came out of turn number 10, he had a big snap of oversteer as he was about to turn left for turn 11 through the SA section. Through this section now, where he's coming on board. And again, he was a little bit squirrely out there through turn number 10. And it doesn't look like he's got the actual downforce through that setup now. It looks
he's
like
running
he took that
a lot of straight line speed. You did comment on it earlier, James. You're well on the ball with Aries here. He is struggling through the corners. That could cost him later on in the race if he's looking to pull a gap on somebody. Currently running 8th, so he's not doing too shabby, and he clearly has his way around here as Jax has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Only 3 penalties on the board. It is 3 seconds for Mateus and Jax and 5 seconds for Nicosos, who has still soldiered on. Here we go. Alberto Vare almost looking for a move. Could have a go here down towards the Esse de Lago as he's trying to tuck up, but Frankie's got a brilliant exit out of there. Alberto Vare has to be actually careful with Ricky behind, but this straight is just not long enough. Not as long as the 1.2 kilometre straight that is the main straight.
Yeah, watch out for Ricky there in 3rd position. He's on that sort of hard compounder tyres. He is saving his ERS very, very strongly, I think, even at this first stage of the race, because we're obviously a third of the way through now. Alberto Vare and Frankie, 35% for Frankie, 19% for Alberto Vare. Ricky's on 57%. 57% as Nicolas bangs in Newcastle to start the race. And there, just coming to prove, I think now the mediums are starting to go off. Alberto Vare just made a mistake where Aries did through turns 10 and 11, and Ricky, I think, might get him done this time around.
Yeah, here comes Ricky, tucked right behind to the far side, formerly baseball stadium, formerly Olympic venue, as he's entering in towards the Peraltada, the final long corner. Big crash from Valtteri Bottas back there in the previous years. Can Ricky get the move done? Although he's under pressure from Mateus here. This could be a right-out scrap as we head down to the straight, the Recta Principale. Who's going to make the moves? Is it going to be Mateus who makes the move? Looks for the inside. Ricky weaves out to the inside. Nobody ends up making the move, but look at the tyres just falling off for Alberto Vare. Ricky, if he can get the traction out of this corner, he will be putting the Aston Martin under an enormous amount of pressure, but the Aston Martin soaks it up like a shock absorber, and he will keep 2nd position here on lap number 15. It's been a great race so far.
Yeah, he will. He's under a lot of pressure, though, from in behind. I wouldn't even rule out Tomasetto. He's only lost, really, 4 or 5 tenths of a second. He's gained 3 tenths of a second just there. They've all been backed up. Ricky is backing, I think, Mateus up, maybe into Tomasetto. Alberto Vare is backing Ricky up into himself as well. And Frankie's the one now beginning to get away. The gap was 4 tenths of a second. It's now 7 tenths coming through the middle sector. And Frankie all of a sudden is looking a lot stronger at this point in the race. There's a yellow flag in sector 2.
Yellow flag's Will Murdoch.
And that's Will Murdoch, yeah.
Something's gone on there through the SE section. I'm not quite sure. I think he lost it on his own. But he's down to 14th here. Could be down to 15 sooner rather than later. And Arroca is actually a lap down, folks. Oh, that's not good stuff for him. First pitters, Alberto Vare and Mateus into the pit lane here. What tyres they're going to go for? Surely the hards to the end.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. If they went sort of soft compound tyres, they are very, very silly boys, to be honest, if they did go for that sort of soft. Yeah, set of hard, white wall tyre on. Mateus nearly going through one of the pit crew there as well, which is unfortunate. But Alberto Vare there, set of hard compound tyres. Mateus there, set of hards. But the big thing is now, where are they going to be? They're in clear air, but it takes a lot of time for obviously those tyres to get up. And I honestly think Frankie will still have the advantage if he pits next lap.
Yeah, I think he will. Frankie's been running really well on those mediums. He's kept them in a much sharper condition, but Ricky's still keeping with DRS despite not having the car in between. It was Alberto Vare running in 2nd spot and Mateus was running in 4th spot. Firefox has fallen back from Tomasetto here, and he is under pressure from Nando, running really well once again in this Grand Prix. Surely Frankie's in at the end of this lap, James.
Has to be. Ricky there, 6 seconds and behind, is catching big time. Might not be catching as much, obviously, with the slipstream in effect, but he is catching on the back of Frankie, and if I was Frankie, if I was in his shoes, I'd be pitting this lap, because I'd realise that Alberto Vara and Mateus are only in the middle sector, and there he comes into the pits.
Yep, good call here by Frankie. It'll be the white wall tyres once again for the Alfa Romeo, and still a great chance to win this one. Of course, he's trying to hold off Alberto Vara and Mateus, who are running in unison here to the Forest Stadium, and Frankie is falling down the order slowly. Where is he on the pit exit? Here he is. Let's keep an eye on Alberto Vara pushing through the Peraltada as Frankie is just about to exit the pits. This is going to be a really close one down the straight, but Frankie exits just ahead here. It's a massive margin, 2.8 seconds. It will adjust itself, but Alberto Vara absolutely nowhere in terms of the lead of this race. But this is the tricky bit. This is where Frankie will lose the time. The hard tyres won't heat up for quite a bit here. Alberto Vara, if he pushes just enough, he may find himself in the DRS by the end of the lap. But up the front, Nando pressuring Firefox. Keep an eye on that gap between Frankie and Alberto Vara, as Firefox has picked up a 3-second penalty under major pressure from Nando here. He could fall to the Alpine, as the hard tyres will be in fairly soon, actually, James, because we've seen the top medium runners do 16 laps on their tyres.
Yep, 16 laps, so you'd imagine that a hard, I think, can get 24, 25 laps quite easily.
Yellow flag sector 2.
Mateus.
Oh, it's Mateus. Mateus gone. One of the front runners was running 4th. He's now running 15th. He was down the pack, but it was due to the spin. He still held position, but he's lost 7.4 seconds doing so. And James, we could have a battle here for the provisional lead, because Alberto Vara right behind Frankie, exiting the Peraltada. Who gets the better run? This could be a potential battle for the lead of the race, but it looks like Frankie just has the pace here.
His teammates coming out of the pit lane as well. Firefox has gone set of medium compound tyres. Very aggressive strategy. Alberto Vara, I don't think, is going to be close enough down in towards turn number 1 on the back of Frankie's within 2.5 tenths per second. And Firefox there in a set of mediums. That is a huge gamble, I've got to say. On those tyres, Alberto Vara just makes a mistake himself.
Mistake
and that
there.
drops him now out of that DRS range to Frankie. And that is it, I think.
That's massive. That is massive, because Frankie's the pace, and the only thing really keeping Alberto Vara there was that DRS. Mateus has come out just in front of CC Brain, who's weaving like hell to warm up his tyres. And we have a question: did something happen to Jax? Yes, Jax unfortunately was a victim of the chaos that is Mexico turn number 1. Will Murdoch is pushing to catch up to Newt here, and he has got in the DRS of Newt, so Will is still preserving his tyres. He's pushing a bit now as Nando is into the pits. Another aggressive call here. These guys going for the mediums early because they don't want to lose a lot of time in the pits.
I honestly think these are very aggressive strategies from these guys. We saw 16 laps, correct me if I'm wrong, 16 laps from a set of medium compounded tyre runners from the front end of the field. These guys further down the field are going aggressive, going to medium compounded tyres, and look where Nando's going to come out. He's going to come side by side with Firefox coming out the pit lane, and the Aston Martin realises that he's got to get into the slipstream range, and now use up that EOS to try and get the jump on him down in towards turn 1. He's going to get the jump on him anyways with the tyres, but he's going to try and get this
Oh, he's touched him!
Into the back of him.
He's into the back of Nando. Nando parking his car in Fernando Alonso fashion. Who gets the run? Nando with a bit of a kick out of the rear. Firefox surely round the outside here, no questions about it. Nando, good straight line speed, however. Firefox trying round the outside, gotta dummy him. He's going to dummy him again with a classic switcheroo. No, Nando holds position quite beautifully so on those cold medium compound tyres compared to Firefox's ones that are absolutely lit up, and that is a swap of position. Can Nando just hold it through this section of track? I think he can. I think he's heated up the tyres really well here. Nando with a great piece of defensive driving to find himself possibly on the podium come the end of this race.
I'm absolutely speechless. I do not understand for the life of me why Firefox did not get past him there. He's behind him. He's got more ERS than him. He's got 45% of ERS, 16% for Nando. He could have been a second ahead of him, and he's just wasted, I think, an opportunity of potentially getting an Aston Martin at least a 2-3, if not a first and second out on track. And Nuth, by the way, further up the field, I think is going to go, or was going to go side by side with Black Box, but I think Firefox closing in on Nando down the straight.
Think about Nando here is he's going to get the tow from Aries, who's come out of the pits in front of the pair of them.
He won't. He won't get the DRS because...
No, he'll get the slipstream. He won't get the DRS because he doesn't have a second detection zone, but he is going to get the run on Aries here, and this is an interesting battle for possibly what could be a podium place. Just look at Aries' straight line speed. Unbelievable. That Honda, not the Honda, the Red Bull powertrains, apologies, is flying here in Mexico. But Nando, he's going to go for an opportunistic move down the inside lane on the brakes into the double right-hander. Nando up the inside. Nando into 10th spot. That could be a huge one come the end of this race. Aries did not get his tyres lit up like Nando did, and now under pressure from Firefox behind. Beautiful racing from the Alpine once again this week.
Yeah, Firefox, though, and all of that has just lost another half a second to Alberto Vara and to Frankie. And Alberto Vara, after that mistake, to be fair, is not losing time. He's trying to gain within that second again. More pit stops, by the way. Ricky, Tomasetto, Lore, all into the pit lane. Ricky and Tomasetto especially going to be interesting to see where they're going to come out. And Ricky is going to come out, I think, side by side with Frankie. Coming out the pit lane here. There is
here
Frankie
we go.
on the
Here's
pit lane
Frankie.
exit.
Oh, it's got a tuck right into the slipstream. He's got past them here, surely, because Ricky is not up to speed yet, and he does have to heat up the tyres, but Ricky has come out in what is technically second place here, folks, and now could have a run on Frankie if he can get these mediums up to temperature fairly quickly. He will have Alberto Vara right behind him, but Alberto is on old hards, or older hards, than Ricky's mediums, and Ricky can make the end according to the game strategies here, because that was the expected pit stop lap for the McLaren.
Yeah, it was indeed. Alberto Vara now on the back of Ricky, though he's still trying to pressurise him. But now, this time, on this lap, Ricky's tyres will be up to temperature and now begin to pull away. He's on that sort of medium compounder tyres. Drivers, people were saying in the comment section as well, they were fancying Ricky potentially for this race win. Now, he has got the thing to prove it. He's only 1.4 seconds behind Frankie in the net race of the lead. And in terms of my pick, by the way, Jax is still going down in 15th position, and he's making very good progress, I've got to say.
He also still is the pit.
I know.
Wouldn't you know? That's the main thing. Newt is somehow running in third in this one. He's right in the back of Black Box. These four are actually, Krypton is 5 seconds behind, are possibly waiting for a safety car to come into the bits. But I have to say, CC Braden, that's his second fastest lap in a row. It's a 1:17.5. The official race lap record in Formula 1 is a 1:18.741. So well done, CC Braden. You've smashed Valtteri Bottas's attempt from 2018. Alberto Vara, 6 tenths behind Ricky. 7 tenths behind Frankie Ricky is. We're in for a scrap to the end of the race, folks. Tomasetto is a cork in the bottle here, really, because Nando has flying pace behind them. These could all go into one big DRS train, but I fear if it's a DRS train, it will stick as a DRS train, because moves are not easy to make despite the long straight once everybody has that DRS effect.
Yeah, definitely. So Ricky there in 6th position now has gained that half a second on the back of Frankie. Frankie, though, was going to come into trouble. Krypton and Nuth, if they don't come in the pit lane, or that front three obviously battle, Krypton obviously battles them in 4th position, Frankie is going to be held up, and Ricky is going to take full effect, I think, potentially here. And they've also got a Rocker, who was a lap down, by the way, maybe giving Frankie a bit of DRS here as well. So this is going to be absolutely crucial. Nuth, by the way, into the pit lane. Krypton stays out, and Ricky is all over the back of Frankie.
Here we go. Frankie had a bobble. Frankie had a bobble out of the Peraltada, and Ricky could be going for what could be his first PSGL F2 win this season. Is he going to go for the inside or the outside? Tries a little from Sebastian Vettel dummy into turn number 1, and Ricky's going to go the long way round the outside the McLaren. Man, can he get the job done? What an overtake by Ricky. Unbelievable racing. Frankie, he's going to get the run again, but these hard tyres, it's like Charles Leclerc on Hungary trying to defend them. No chance. Ricky is true, and Ricky is now on course to win his first PSGL F2 race.
But is he? Because Tomasetto's just got through on Alberto Vare, and he's within a second on Frankie as well. The Williams now beginning to come into play, and Frankie obviously is going to be held up. They've got a goal scorer ahead. They've got Krypton ahead as well. This is going to be absolutely crucial now. Ricky and Frankie have ideally got to get through, because Tomasetto's going to come on them right like a rash. And honestly, he's there in 6th position. And honestly, I could see him potentially in 3 laps' time being ahead of Ricky and Frankie if they're not careful.
Well, here we go then. This is going to be a mighty interesting battle. Still all 18 running in this Grand Prix. The Mexican Grand Prix, 4th round of the PSGL season. Ron into the pit lane. Krypton also into the pit lane quite crucially, meaning no DRS for Ricky unless he got it off the back marker. Let's have a look behind. He has got it off the back marker. And Ricky will now be okay, and unfortunately we have lost somebody in this Grand Prix. It's in the pit lane. Haraka has made it. Nando and Alberto Vare side by side into turn number 1. Nando is surely going to get this one done on the better tyres. Absolutely, he's covered him off before the second part of the chicane, and Nando now on the charge as well with Tomasetto, and Tomasetto is right on the back of Frankie, and we are in for an absolute smashing end. Here comes Aries up the inside of Alberto Vare as well. He's locked the brake. He's gone deep into the corner, but that's actually helped him defend the move. Unbelievable from the man with the best straight line speed on this grid so far. Look at Tomasetto all over the back of Frankie. Where do we look? We need about 50 billion eyes to keep an eye on all the action, because Firefox as well is looking to get past his teammate, and realistically here, Tomasetto could be challenging for the lead of the race by the end of the next lap with this pace. It's crazy.
Yeah, Tomasetto was a favourite of mine potentially for the podium. I think I put him like 2nd or 3rd if I'm not mistaken. And he's currently on for that, definitely. Frankie's going to drop down the field. No question about that, but it's only if his tyres now begin to come back into play. Probably in the final 11 laps or so. Here comes Tomasetto though, down the straight. I don't think he even needs his ERS. He's going to come now down the straight. The Williams and the Alfa Romeo are going to go side by side. But it's going to be easy. Tomasetto absolutely sails on by. Frankie is not even there in question for a net 2nd position. Tomasetto through and he's into a net 2nd position. More crucially though, for now, he's into 3rd. As Jax, I think, has sped into the pit lane and might retire the car. And Nuth as well, side by side with Ron further down the field.
Newt side by side with Ron, those guys only making a pit stop, and Newt's actually got the jump on Ron. Ron was running well in this one. Unfortunately, he is down to 14th position. Ron currently 3rd in the championship. He's not going to be scoring points today, ladies and gentlemen. Disappointing. Oh, hold on, there's an incident here. It's Matthias and Will Murdoch. Matthias has been spun round. I've no idea what happened, but there was a slow Will Murdoch into the side of Matthias, and I feel he spun him because he is letting him back through here, which is good sportsmanship from Will Murdoch. He's a nice lad, and he's made the right call there if he has spun him.
Yeah, and he's still within a second as well, so he's still within
DRS. He's still played it clever. He's still been cheeky with that one, and he still has DRS. But still may get a penalty for it. That's the only thing it can be. As good a sportsmanship as you want, but at the end of the day, if Krypton gives you the penalty hammer, he'll give you the penalty hammer, and Frankie is going to be hammered down the order by Nando and Aries here, because Nando is into the DRS. He's very low on ERS, mind you, but he could get the run here on Frankie. Those medium tyres will be starting to wear a little bit old for Nando, though he's one of the earlier pitters, and Black Box is... he's holding out for something. I'm not quite sure what, but he really needs a safety car anytime soon. Otherwise, he is falling to the bottom of this order here in Mexico City.
Yeah, Firefox all the way through on Alberto Vare through, and he's into 7th, but his tyres are now beginning to tell. And I have a feeling he's going to be the real cork in the bottle there, potentially, as well. Black Box, though, still leading the way. Ricky there in 2nd. Tomasetto in 3rd. Nando, though, on the back. Whether he likes it hot or spicy or just cool, he's on the back of Frankie. And Frankie there in 4th position. Nando there in 5th. I worked that one completely in my brain, by the way. Nando on the back of Frankie.
Completely in your CC brain?
So, yeah, CC brain, yeah, I might have no brain, I think, by the end of tonight, but still.
PSGL F2, folks. Where else?
Terrible. Nando, though, is still on the back of Frankie. 5.5 tenths of a second away. And look at Ricky on the back of Black Box. Black Box is not putting in. And Ricky is right on the back of him for the race lead. This is going to be absolute simple in terms of this move. It might well be the easiest overtake you might see in PSGL F2, either tonight or for the rest of the season, because Ricky sails on by Black Box. Tiny bit of a touch there, I think. Black Box more than he's still
more
there.
difficult than he needed to.
He's into the lead.
Nando not getting past Frankie because Thomas
CC Brain
Oh, what's
down the
happened
inside
to
line,
CC
sorry to cut you
Brain?
off, Evan.
He's gone up the inside of Alberto Vare, it seems like.
Yeah, he was down the inside of him, and now, on the run towards turn number 4, he might still get the run, but I have a feeling the move is now done for Alberto Vare to remain in P8, and that's exactly what has happened.
There's your man, James. Jack setting the fastest lap, but Tomasetto's not pulling away from Frankie, and that's the big issue here. Nando is all over the back of Frankie, but Tomasetto is not pulling away. He's slightly pulling no, he's not even pulling away for the corners. Frankie much better for the S section, and Frankie definitely has the pace to win this race. If the strategy just let him down, as Tomasetto is going to be held up by Black Box through the Forest-Sol, and Black Box really needs to consider pitting. He can go from softs to the end, as it's Will Murdoch. It is Will Murdoch around through the SE section. And that is Will Murdoch's chance of points gone. He's had another 360. Black Box, has he finally just pit? He finally is into the pit lane. Gap up the front is 2.7 seconds. Tomasetto has a job on his hands.
Yeah, I'll tell you something though, Evan. Frankie has got no ERS down the straight. I've watched him from the top of the straight right down to the bottom, in towards turn number 1. He had no ERS. CC Brain on the back of Alberto Vare. Tries again though for the move. Around the outside of turn number 1. Now through turn number 2. The German on the outside line. Now for the inside for turn number 3. He's on the outside line. He's got the DRS. He should have the move. And Alberto Vare has just been absolutely done by the Mercedes. And the Mercedes through. And he's into 7th. But for how long Alberto Vare tries to lunge it down the inside? Doesn't. Jax has retired from the race. Disappointing for the Australian, and I think he now can get on with his day.
Nice prediction, James. And,
thank you. Tomasetto's in second, though.
Tomasetto is in second, so it's not all gone wrong for Mr. James Ed and his predictions today. But Frankie is still keeping in that DRS, and that is the reason Frankie could get a podium here, because Nando can't touch him once Frankie has the DRS, because Nando's tyres are not in optimum condition anymore. He is struggling possibly on them towards the end of this stint. Gap at the front remains at 2.5, 2.4. There's a yellow flag. It's for the Aussies car of Jax, who is unfortunately the second retirement in this race. We still have 16 runners. It is Ricky leading from Tomasetto, Elliott from Frankie, Nando, Aries, Firefox, CC Brain, Alberto Vare, Laurie on debut in 9th, and Newt, the final point scorer in 10th, but he's under pressure from Ron here. Although Newt is still attacking for 9th spot, it seems like these guys, the late pitters mediums, are very, very good in this race.
Yeah, Laurie's doing a good job, by the way. His first drive, obviously, is a reserve driver. He's there in 9th position. Hasn't shown the great deal of pace as we might have imagined, but he's about to get done by Newt, I think, down in towards turn number 4. Here comes the German on the back of Laurie, the ET8 man, for now stays ahead, though. Yeah,
he backs out on that one. I thought Newt was going to chuck one up the inside, possibly. He's not as brave on the brakes as his teammate Nando is, but Newt is a very competent racer, and he knows how much these points would mean. It would be a big improvement, as Joey in the comments saying, give Ricky an F1 seat. Are we going to lose another title rival to F1, James? Is this just going to be this season? It's just going to be whoever wins a race just gets moved. But Ricky is dominant again in Mexico.
Will Murdoch, by the way, is just got to move down on the coal sauce for the proverbial wooden spoon out on track as well. 15th and 16th position for Will Murdoch and the coal sauce. Ricky, I think, honestly, I'm going to rebuke that comment from Joey and say I don't think he deserves an F1 seat at this stage. I know he's dominating, he's 3 seconds ahead of Tomasetto and he's showing a lot of pace.
Also
this is his first time this season, though. Yeah, this is the first time this season, though, that he's
just going to overcut you. Newt is going to make a move on Laurie here, and it looks like Ron could get involved in this one as well. Newt has flied past. We're going to go 3 wide down the main straight. Are we? Ron goes up the inside of the Ferrari as well, and the Ferrari has just gone from 2 point scoring to no point scoring, as Newt and Ron, as that is a yellow flag. It is Will Murdoch once again, and Krypton is past Mateus here. Mateus coming into some trouble after fighting for a podium.
Yeah, but he's on the wheels wearing hard as well. 14 laps on that set of hard compound side. He's down there in 13th position, but he's still at least going in the race, which is really good to see. Back to what I was saying, obviously, with, I don't know who it was I was
3
saying.
seconds. He's still going to be okay for now, as Laurie's picked up for 3 seconds as well. That's his chance of points gone from this one.
Yeah, back to what I was saying about Joey's comment about Ricky. This is the first time we've honestly seen, I think, his pace all season. We've seen it so in qualifying. He's been really quick in qualifying, of course taking pole position every single race. But this is the first time, I think, personally, we've actually seen them become a little bit dominant. It's because Ray's obviously been removed up to F1, promoted up to there. Ricky, I think, needs to prove himself first, get a few more race wins under his bag. He'll be following them in about 2 or 3 races' time.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, honestly, James, but just another man who's been running probably under my radar, certainly, is Aries. He's fighting for 4th in this one after making that beautiful catch, which James, commentator, cursed him, but thankfully Aries decided that he was not having another commentator's curse today. He's 3/10 behind Nando, as that's a yellow flag. It is Will Murdoch again, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's down in 16th. Do you know what? He may as well come in and retire the car, I think, at this stage, because don't see, unless there's a safety car ahead of him in the next 2 laps or so,
even then, he won't be a lap down.
Actually winning this race.
Well, practice laps, I suppose. I'm sure I'll have another Mexican girl. Yeah, Will, I think it's time. I think the going's got tough.
He's still going.
Fair play to him. I can respect that commitment for Will Murdoch. Will is a great lad. He's a great racer, but unfortunately, when it's not your day, it's not your day here in PSGL. There is little to no room for error, and the gap has come down up the top a little bit. Tomasetto is currently on course for 2nd position for Williams Racing. Frankie on course for 3rd for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, definitely. So, at this moment in time, though, because Nando and Aries, Nando has now lost, I think, all sorts of pace, and that's had a medium compounder tyres. And this was the big fear. Going 16 laps as Alberto Vara goes side by side with CC Brain. Down the inside line, he repeats the favour from a few laps ago, and Alberto Vara, whose hards will be coming into play, by the way, towards the end of this race. He's through and he's into 7th, though, with those penalties. And looking at the penalties, his black box also gets moved on Mateus down the straight into 13th position. He goes. Penalties are Firefox on 6, Alberto on 3, CC Brain on 3, Lorre on 3, Mateus on 9, Will Murdoch there on 12 seconds. Those are the only penalties that we've had tonight. I thought there would have been a lot more. Ricky, by the way, I think is just coasting now.
I got 6 myself last night, so I thought there'd be a lot more. But Frankie is somehow still in DRS at Tomasetto. James, I believe, predicted Tomasetto to have taken the lead about 10 laps ago. But Ricky has held his nerve, this Shizuman. Shizu practically owning the Mexican Grand Prix here in F2. It was a Tom Robbo win last season ahead of Cameron Dowds. And then, unfortunately, there was no Shizuman in the 3rd spot. There's 3 Shizu drivers in the top 10 here. It's Shizu Ricky in 1st, Shizu Aries in 5th, and then Shizu Ron in 10th, or Shizu Academy Aries, if you'd like to be that precise with it. And Shizu Academy Aries could be going for 4th spot because Nando's pace has died here in this Mexican Grand Prix.
Yeah, the only thing that's keeping him within touching distance of Frankie, as soon as I say that though, he makes a mistake coming out of turn number 2. Aries has got a chance, but he's not close enough. He doesn't want to use up any ERS. I think he's going to wait the final 2 laps of the race and then go for a move, because if he realises that Frankie and Tomasetto are potentially going to battle, which I think they are, because Frankie, I think his tyres will be better at this stage compared to Tomasetto's. He's got a really, really good chance, I think, of coming alive. There is a yellow flag in the middle second, and that's Will Murdoch once again.
Unfortunately for Will, it's really not been his day, and I think he's pushing a bit too much through that corner specifically. It's caught him out a few times, but yeah, it's not Will's day. It wasn't Will's day really in Belgium. It was his day in Miami, but he unfortunately made a bit of a reckless move on the last lap to get himself a time penalty. There was no time penalties from the last race in Belgium. There was a time penalty removal for actually Will Murdoch, who got 3 seconds removed, and we head on to lap 34. The gap's come down up the top a little bit, but there's no real challenge for Ricky here, and even Aries is starting to drop off. The pace is just getting slightly slower in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely so, but there are two certainties in life these days. PSGL F1, live 8 PM UK time, you can catch that now if you want to tune in for that, and Will Murdoch spinning around Mexico.
Bit of an unnecessary violation there, but there is another thing that could come very soon. It could be Frankie to narrow the gap to Ricky that he's losing in this race, because Tomasetto is really struggling here.
Yeah, Frankie is showing now, I think, a lot of pace. He's still around the same gap as last time around. I think he's closing a 10th or 2. But now, he's got to put it all on the line. If he wants this 2nd position, he needs to go for it now. He's got 8% of ERS. If I was in his shoes, I'd be saving up that ERS, not going for any sort of moves. Nicole Spollo is retired into the pit lane, And Ron, I think, has just spun coming to the S section. He has indeed. He's spun and he's lost out of the points.
Sorry, Joey, for showing you that one, but Shazoo Ron has unfortunately dropped himself out of the points, and this will give Laurie points on debut if he can bring the car home. But this battle up the front once again, Tomasetto is really struggling. Yellow flags are out. That's for Nick Kostos' car, who's retired on the pit lane. He will come back out on the track, but it will be an AI car, so nothing to worry about for the drivers. Gap is closing. Gap is closing. It's going to be a last lap dash down the main straight for Frankie. Surely he's not close enough on this occasion, and as he turns into turn number 1, he is 0.3 of a second behind. And look at Aries pressuring Nando into a move here. Could he make a move on the main straight as well? It's really been building up to this last lap battle for a few laps time. We're on lap 35 out of 36 here in PSGL F2. Make sure you do like and subscribe if you're enjoying the action.
Speaking of action, Krypton's just really gone around the outside of Ron and Blackbox. He's got one, but he didn't get the other, and he might get him up towards turn number 4. Krypton on the back of Ron, not for the points at the minute. Maybe, though, in terms of the penalties, maybe. Krypton on the back of Ron. 11th and 12th, not close enough, though, for Krypton. And back to that battle for second, as you were saying. Tomasetto second, Frankie in third. Nando, though, looks the strongest, I think, of these 4 in terms of ERS and in terms of pace, because he's suddenly
yellow flag to CC Brain, and that will put a few people possibly back up into the points, although CC Brain does not have a penalty. He's got always wing damage. That is CC Brain's race run, I think, in terms of the points. Back through the Peraltada for the second final time. It's going to be Frankie on the back of Tomasetto. Can he take second position here in this Mexican Grand Prix? He was fighting for the win. He couldn't quite nab it. He's not tucked in enough into the DRS. He's gaining and gaining and gaining into towards turn number 1. It's not going to be close enough for anybody, really. Nando's burning all his ERS for a last lap dash for the podium. Frankie, as you can see, is Alfa Romeo regenerating. You can see Tomasetto's regenerating, but Nando's got all out of shape in the second straight, and I think that might be just enough for Tomasetto to hold on here, because Frankie's actually made an error. He's Nando right behind him. Nando could snatch Frankie's second podium of the season off him, and the gap at the front is really coming down. Ricky is coasting this one home, but he has enough of a gap to do it, and Frankie is pushing Tomasetto right to the limit here, but I think he might have pushed him a bit too much, because Nando could take this one, you know. He's right on the back of the third place man, and Aries has picked up a 3-second time penalty. He's pushing to his absolute maximum as well. Nobody going to be close enough. Nando has hit Frankie. Nando on the last lap has hit Frankie. Aries has hit Frankie. An unbelievable scenes in the Forest Soul. Ricky is going to take his first win around Mexico. Shazoo live on in Mexican Grand Prix victories. He's taken 1. Tomasetto will take 2nd. Frankie will take 3rd. Nando 4th. Aries in 5th. Firefox will come home 6th. And Alberto Vare in 7th. Newt will get that 7th off Alberto Vare. And Laurie will come home 9th to take his first points of the season on debut for that Ferrari, replacing Jake Marsh. Ron will come home in the final points paying positions. We are just waiting on CC Brain to cross the line. Unbelievable scenes in the final lap.
Yeah, CC Brain, by the way, spun in the final couple of corners as well. I think it was through the SA section again in the middle sector, so that's why he ended up out of the points. FBR Newt gets driver of the day, awarded by the in-game fans. But now, Ricky has finally realised his chance. Ray has gone up to F1. Ricky now could be following him. That was a very astute drive from him. Even though he was lacking in pace towards the end, he was coasting towards the end. It was, in the end, rather easy for him, and he takes the race win.
Yeah, unbelievable drive from Ricky. That is going to be a twist in the championship. He will take the championship lead. Of course, no points scored by Ray as he was promoted to F1, and it's Ricky's 4th podium. 4 poles, 4 podiums, 1 win. It's not bad statistics at all for the McLaren man.
Yeah, definitely not. And obviously, I think he now, if I'm not mistaken, he takes the championship lead, doesn't he? He
does, yeah. Because it will be a 16-point swing. There's no points scored for Ray. Because he's not here to score points.
Unbelievable, I think, result from Ricky. I've got to say, though, fantastic battle further down the field. That P2 battle, of course, brought us on our edge. Frankie there towards the end of the race as well brought us on our edge in terms of going into the back there. But Ricky out on top. P1, not the fastest lap, though, so he could have completed the Grand Slam, but he didn't. It was Ricky in P1. Tomasetto there in 2nd. Frankie there in 3rd. Nando there in 4th. Aries 13th on the grid up to 5th. Drove very well indeed. Firefox in 6th. One of my podium predictions didn't come off, but who cares? Nuth there in 7th, Alberto Vara in 8th, Laura there in 9th, Ron in 10th. Nuth, by the way, 18th up to 7th in the end. That's why I got awarded Driver of the Day. Krypton, Blackbox, CC Brain, Matthias, Will Murdoch. Top 15, Nicole Sus, Jackson and Rock are the 3 DNFs out on track. And Jax got the fastest lap. I don't think he'll get awarded that fastest lap point.
Well, he finished 17th, so I don't think he will. But still, a decent race. No, it wasn't a decent race at all, but a decent fastest lap for Jax. And that is what, unfortunately, ruined his race, was the lap 1 collision, which multiple people were involved in, James. But it was an impressive victory once again for Ricky. And could this be the performance he needed to take the championship in PSGL F2?
Oh, we're saying too early. We said a lot about Ray, though, to be honest. And like, well, why Ray is
I'm more
there.
meant the championship charge, but I can't lie, I completely messed up the sentence and just gave up halfway through.
No, honestly, I think Ricky has got a really good chance of potentially winning the championship. It is, though, quite wide open now. Obviously, Ray, the pace angle, I think, has gone from the PSGL F2 battle this season. Ricky is now the pace angle. He showed that tonight. He was really good in qualifying throughout this season so far. And that's the first time, really, he's came alive and obviously driven a very astute race right from the front, pretty much had no one around him, dominant in the end. Is that a sign of things to come?
Well, it might well be, and that gives more points to McLaren, who will extend their lead in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, Mercedes did not score points this evening on CC Brown's first race. He will be fairly disappointed with that one. But it's going to be definitely some twists in the championship because, of course, Araka having a poor race as well. Frankie will move himself up with that 3rd spot, and we'll also see Tomasetto jump a few spots as well. He has not scored a podium this season. That was his first this season. He was sat in 11 points before this race, and he has just scored 12, so it'll be a big jump in the championship for Tomasetto, and it really is a sign of things to come for a close championship battle. Of course, it's Japan next week, that's confirmed. A very different track and a very exciting race ahead of us.
It is a very exciting race ahead of us, but I have a feeling there's not going to be as many finishes as what people might think around there, because the curbs still deadly, especially through the S section in the first sector. You've got to have a very low downforce setup as well. You've got to have your tyre pressures pretty low as well for that track. And it's going to be fascinating, of course, to see how drivers do get on out on track next week in F2 in Japan, where hopefully we're going to be back on Discord and back on OBS. I think it might be the weather conditions causing my problems tonight.
We are sorry about that, folks, but unfortunately, James' laptop kind of died when we were setting everything up, so we are only on the PlayStation broadcast tonight, but we do hope you enjoyed this race. I certainly enjoyed it. I don't know about you, James, but it was a cracker of a Grand Prix, and we'll be back next week in Japan. James, do you have any final thoughts on the race ahead and the race we've just watched?
Jackson needs to up his game in Mexico the next time we come here, probably next season. But honestly, yeah, Ricky really drove, I think, fantastically well there. Deserved the race win. As I say, is it a sign of things to come? Who knows? Tune in next week.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PSG F2. Despite the issues, we'll be back to normal viewing next week in Japan. You don't want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. From myself, Evan Dalton, and James Head, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.